Hello and welcome back to the SuperCoach Corner podcast for the final team preview ahead of the 2026 AFL season. We're on with the Bulldogs and I'm Tyson. Joined alongside me is Darcy. Darcy, how do you feel about the Bulldogs going into 2026?
Yeah, mate, pretty bullish. I mean, Bulldogs every year have always got their handful of stars that are really Supercoach relevant. I'm looking forward to getting into them and seeing who we can potentially start, who we can fade, and or if there's any diamonds in the rough that we can look to in our Supercoach side. So I think there is a couple there that I'm excited to get into.
Yeah, definitely. They're always very relevant with the way that they play. So, but first of all, shout out to the socials. Make sure you go give us a follow on all the socials. You think about it, we have it. All that kind of stuff. And if you wanted to get into some more competitive stuff, we have an unlimited league, which use the code 728323. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see it on the screen. We also have some cash leagues that we are running, so check out our socials for more information on that to get involved. But let's get stuck in. And firstly, Bulldogs have the double bye. They have a round 3 bye early, which is always frustrating. So we need to proceed with caution when we're picking some of these guys. It's not as much for the rookies. It's more the premiums when we get to them. Then they've got the round 16 bye as well. So they're the last bye of the year. Let's get started with the rookies. We'll start with Lockie Carmichael, currently in 21% of sides, defensive mid, 113K. There's a lot of talk about him possibly getting an early debut. What do you see on Lockie Carmichael there, Das?
Yeah, there is that chatter. I didn't catch much of their preseason game, but definitely one to watch coming into the preseason, coming into round one. Luckily enough, they do have that round 0 game as well. So it's nice with these rookies, with those teams. You can sort of give them a watch, see if they're named that round 0 side, how they start, what that first score is. So, yeah, and obviously with him as well, he's at that really cheap price of 113K with that DVP. If he's getting a game, he becomes more and more tempting just for that flexibility alone.
Yeah, I believe he actually missed the game, like didn't play. I'm not sure why, but all of the talk during the preseason is that he's a reliable distributor of the ball, can intercept and rebound. So they needed some more defense capability and maybe that rebounding defender to run with Bailey Dale. But yeah, sounds like he's putting up his name for a round 1 debut. Lockie Jacks is the next one at 119K, another defender. He did play in the game and got 22 disposals. Apparently just looked amazing. He could he not be one of the best defenders that we get?
Yeah, he's a lock at this stage. There's so many defensive rookies, but I think he's one that we can pretty much lock away. Just his role, he looked so composed. I saw some clips of how good he looked bouncing off that halfback. Doggies have rated him all preseason, and that translated perfectly into that game. So, yeah, as long as he's named, like I said, they'll be playing round 0, so we get another look at him. But yeah, I think he will be one that everyone will start and could be a big cash cow for us this year.
Yeah, I do definitely like that. I had to find a way to get him into my side after the reports yesterday. So, yeah, he's definitely in my team for now. The next we'll talk about is brother of Sam Darcy in Will Darcy, picked late in the draft, probably more as just a prospect pick. He's got the defensive forward status, 113K. Haven't heard much to be that he is even near the A side. I think that's just an easy avoid, isn't it, Darcy?
Yeah, I think it's just more of a project for him. So don't really expect a debut this year. Might be using our sides later with that defensive forward DBB, but other than that, I don't think he'll be very Supercoach relevant.
Yeah, can't disagree there. Another one, and probably the final rookie we'll touch on for the Dogs is Artie Jones, mid forward, 120K, has had a few games here and there, was sub-affected a lot as well. I thought he showed some decent signs when, he's a bit more that flashy kind of player. Do you see him possibly getting into the side and locking that spot away enough for us to pick him in Supercoach?
He looked good in the game. The bits that I watched, he looks like he's pushing up the ground a little bit more. I don't know if that's on a wing or a little bit off halfback, but got his hands on the ball a little bit. He's always been like a classy, flashy sort of player. But yeah, also a fringe player. So they've got lots in that type, and whether he can cement his spot on that side is the real question. So I think that's one we've got to watch. But there's so many good rookies this year. I think it's probably one you just have to fade.
Yeah. Yeah, I do agree with that. He did get 17 touches yesterday, so he was definitely pushing up the ground. Kicked 3 goals as well, so he's definitely pushing his case for round one. But like you said, there's so many good rookie options that we have this year in the forward line that we can probably fade Artie Jones. But let's move into the mid prices, and there's a lot of them, and they're all forward eligible. So we're going straight into the forward line for the mid prices. We'll start with a guy that has been riddled with injury a bit, missed all of last year, and is actually going to be a huge inclusion for the Dogs in Cody Waitman. Are we sleeping on this pick? He was priced at 376 to start the year last year. He's now down at 226K. With full preseason, a whole year off, developing his body, can he not just get back into this side and play that high half forward, small forward kind of role that we saw from him?
I think he can, but not early in the year. I think he's still coming back from his injury. I saw footage that he had his first run back in over a year. I think it was maybe start of the month, end of last month. So he's still well on his way back. I don't think he'll be featuring early in the season, but definitely one to keep an eye on. We know how good he can be. So if we can get him as a sort of elevated downgrade option late in the year, that'll definitely be someone that I'll be looking at. But yeah, he's been off for so long. I think they'll ease him through the VFL and make sure that he's right before coming back into that AFL side.
Yeah, I can't disagree with all your points there. Didn't play in that practice match, so it's obviously a good sign that he's still a bit away. Another one, however, in Connor Buderick, came across from Gold Coast. Looks like he's gone to that half-back role. What can you tell us about that? It looks like he got 22 touches yesterday, 8 marks. Yeah, pretty solid.
Yeah, it looked really good. I really rated him at Gold Coast across halfback. He's a really classy ball user. He's really nimble. Like he's obviously a smaller stature, but defends well, uses the ball well. I'm not expecting him to rack up 30 touches every week, but I think you can, especially as forward eligible, I think there's a chance, he averages at 18, 22, like around 20 touches a game. Use the ball nicely. He can probably push an 80 average. I've really liked the Buttery pick. I think a lot of people are sleeping on it.
Yeah. It looks like he's just solidified at halfback and he's forward eligible. So that's just great. A great role, I guess. Looks like all reports are saying he's providing a great rebound option, linking up in multiple transition chains. So like the looks of it, and he's actually currently in my side. And no, he's in yours as well. 245K is just great buying. If you can fit him in, I can't knock the pick at all. Next one, however, is someone that's got a lot more experience but has so many body issues as well. In Adam Treloar, he's picked in a lot of sides. He's currently in 20%. 311K, you say that to me a year, maybe even 2 years ago, even forward eligible. Like, how the hell would he not be in 100% of sides? But with the body issues and stuff that we've come to see from Treloar, is that the reason why a lot more sides aren't picking him, Das?
Yeah, exactly right. He just can't get his body right. So many setbacks this preseason. I just can't see him getting a good run on it. And I think with the emergence of a couple guys we're about to speak about as well, even when he does come back in that side, I think he's going to be used a lot forward, which won't be favourable for his SuperCoach scoring. So I think the fact that he's not playing, we probably won't play round one, could be a little bit of a blessing in disguise. I am not super bullish on Treloar this year. I just think he needs the midfield minutes to really score well. And like I said, there's probably one or two guys that we're about to speak about who they might prefer in there over him.
Yeah, I still don't mind the half forward role for Adam Treloar. He played a bit there. He was sort of 20 to 30% CBAs when he did play games last year. And dropped 89, 71, a 99, and then had an injury affected 29, which is probably why we're getting him for that really cheap price. I still don't hate the half forward role for Treloar. I think he's that silky of a player that he can produce us some nice scores in that forward line. But I want to see him really play there and really do well in the practice game next week, provided he does get picked, because obviously he's got a few issues going on. I'm pretty sold on this guy as long as I can see that he's fit and firing through, even the forward line.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm probably less sold on him. I think there's better options around that price that I can trust a little bit more. And with a higher ceiling, like you might make 100k, 150k out of him. It's the best case scenario. I don't see him pushing their top 8 forward. So unless he gets a full-time mid role, which I don't see happening. So, let's just hope he gets his body right first, and then he can start coming into our calculations, because we all want to see a fit and firing Treloar up and running. But getting into those guys, Tice, that I mentioned, who are pushing their way into those centre bounce calculations, Joel Frazier's the first one. Has come out and said that he's trained all preseason as that inside mid, played in the Pracky match as an inside mid, played well. Mini Bond, easy, starting to elevate his game. It's an expensive price tag for a guy you're betting on to push his game to that upper echelon. I'm not 100% sure he can, but at 428k, is it worth the gamble?
Yeah, I don't hate it in the forward line. That's for sure. I think you can pick either this guy or Treloar, but not both. He's showed he can dominate games last year. Got that 150 against Sydney up at the SCG in round 16, and he only had 9% CBA. So, he can do it anywhere. Like, he got a bit of the role last year and did all right with it. The most CBAs he did get was 44% in round 7, where he dropped 114. So he can do it with the role. It's just, like, if he's definitely solidified as a midfielder, I see him being a top 8 forward with ease, and he's got the talent. But it's the fact that it's Bevo and they have a lot of talent running through that midfield. Is he going to be solidified that he is, with Bont and maybe Ed Richards in there? And that's the 3.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's Bevo. It's my main concern with him. We've heard this before. A lot of people bought into him last year because he was getting that halfback distributing role, and he didn't really play it at all. Played more for the midfield and forward, obviously. So where are we getting him? Again, round 0 is huge for this pick, I think. If he plays majority mid in round 0 and scores well, I think a lot of people will jump on. I think Bont and Richards are clear of him in terms of that midfield pecking order. But does he overtake someone like Libba, who's been training a little bit off halfback? Is he ahead of the next guy we speak about? Probably. It sounds like he's pushed ahead of Treloar. Like, if he's that 3rd or 4th fiddle, I do like it, but it needs to be cemented, and I need to see it long term.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that at all. And yeah, Libba, we'll get to Libba in a sec, but he dominated yesterday, racking 28 possessions, whereas Fraser only got 16. So, it's to and fro in there. But let's move to Riley Sanders at 381k mid forward. I think this is just an easy fade. He might get injected into that midfield, but I don't see him getting more than 20, 30% CBAs per game, just with all the guys that they want to run through there, especially with Fraser probably overtaking him at the moment. Is that just a safe avoid on Riley Sanders?
Yeah, I wouldn't be looking at him unless he's playing midfield, and I think that the split's not going to be good enough, unfortunately.
Yep, I can't disagree with that. And if you're going to buy someone that's playing that half forward, maybe a little bit of mid roll, I'd rather buy Treloar for 70k cheaper and run the risk there. So, that's probably an easy pass. Let's move to the premiums, where we know we get some really good scores out of the Dogs. We'll start with defense in Bailey Dale for 554k. I know you love this guy. Is he in your starting squad at the moment?
He's not, no. I think there's so many good defensive options. by itself just sort of leans me away from him. Like, he's a similar price to Connor Rosie, who you're getting for the first half of the year with no breaks. So, yeah, the early buy is just a killer, unfortunately. I think he's someone that I'll target later in the year. I really rate his bounce off halfback. His ball use is great. He's obviously shown his ability to rack up the pill. But yeah, I won't be starting with him. I know you had him last year. Are you looking at him at all?
I'm looking at him. It's just, that round 3 buy really hurts when I'm tossing up, say, between him and, I don't know, another player that's not going to have a buy, like a Connor Rosie or that kind of thing. So I do still see him being up there as one of the maybe top 10 defenders again. So I'll target him maybe after his buy. But I just need to make sure that Bevo's not going to do Bevo things and throw him up forward randomly again, because he's just so good off halfback for the Dogs. He just needs to stay there and just leave him. So I think it's an easy pass on Bailey Dale just because of the early buy. Let's move into the midfield where they've got a lot of players. We'll start with arguably the best Supercoach player that we've had for a while in Marcus Bontempelli. 706k you have to buy him for, though. Is it worth the price tag early on?
I am always a no for Bond to start Bond just because of the price tag. And I was a no when Supercoach opened. It'll surprise you, Tice, but I'm coming around to it. Like, slowly coming around to it. I've made a lot of iterations of my team where I've got 100k sitting over, like left over, and I'm like, is it worth just starting someone like Bont? You know exactly what you're going to get from him. He looked incredible in that Origin game. It's going to be Bont of old. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's a hefty price tag, and we always say with most midfielders or premiums in general, like you can wait and sort of pick them up for a bit cheaper. I don't know how cheap you're going to get Bont. It's always going to be like, he's over 700k now. It's always going to be a fight to get him in your team. You're not going to pick up Bont for 550k. It just doesn't really happen. So if you don't start him, you're going to have to find a way to bring him in. I've had to do a lot of trade planning over the last few years to get him in my side, and I plan it from 4, 5, 6 weeks out so I can generate the cash to bring him in. Part of me is like, let's just eliminate that and start with him. So yeah, I like it. Obviously it's Bont, so the scoring, like, there's no question around the role or scoring or anything like that. So it's just the price tag.
Yeah, and yeah, it's the Bont. It's like there was no player last year that started over 600k that didn't drop below 600k, and it's easy to say that and just run with that, but the Bont is different. He started at 681k, obviously missed the first 5 games due to his injury, and then came back and just set the world alight in Bont fashion: 159, 128, 141, 99, and a 140. And then, like, people are thinking he's just going to be out of reach. He then dropped a 66 against the Saints, and a 177 against the Tigers, then a 63 against Sydney. So that's what sort of got him down under the 600k. He even got to 568k, but that's round 16 through the year. You should already have your team almost finished. And if you have to wait until round 16 to be able to pick him up under the 600k, I don't like it. You're missing out on all the Bont scores that have happened previously. Yes, he did dominate the back end of last year as well, but you need to really target him. And I'm happy to spend 600k throughout the year. I'm just not sold on spending 707k when you've got a limited budget to start your side. So I'm not starting the Bont. I don't think I've ever considered him to start this year, but I'm 100% he's going to be one of my first upgrade options as soon as I see him get low 600s.
Yeah, no, it's fair. I'm tossing and turning between it, so I'm not 100% sold either way yet. And yeah, I just have to see where my team finishes and the other players I'm sold on around him. Ed Richards, Tice, the other one who had a breakout year last year, had an incredible season. Due to that, obviously, he is at that elevated price. At just over 600k, at 2.8% of teams, it's a nice point of difference. Are you looking at him at all? Can he continue that hot form from last year? What do you think with Ed Richards?
I love this pick. Absolutely love this pick. I've had him in my side in a few iterations. Not currently there, but yeah, 602K. I think with just another year, another preseason under his belt as a proper midfielder, we know that they love to use their midfielders. That's why they're always so expensive. And the bonds there, that kind of stuff, Libba. And yeah, Richards with another year under his belt, another preseason, training as a full midfielder. Really love this point of difference pick.
Yeah, I love it as well. We were both on him last year. He came back from injury early in the season, took a little bit to warm up, but then just exploded and was consistently one of the Dogs' best players. Won their BNF last year, which is huge considering you're going up against Bond, who had a great year, albeit missing the first 5 or 6 rounds. But yeah, Ed Richards is a star. I think at 600K, he's fighting with those other big dogs in the midfield, but I think he can deliver exactly what they can. So I like it. And like we mentioned, really good point of difference at under 5% owned. I think he's great buying. A couple other ones here, Tice Libba. You mentioned he had a good game yesterday. I'm not as sold on Libba. I just think he's aging. He's one head knock away from retirement and has been tried a little bit off half. Has been tried a little bit off half back as well. So I think there's too many question marks around there that I wouldn't be buying into Libba.
Yeah, I do agree, but we've sort of been saying about the head knock kind of thing for a few years now, and it just doesn't seem to come to fruition. And like he always just seems to score well. He's a great pod, but yeah, 600K for someone that could be out very early. Even in playing off halfback, I can't see him playing halfback. We know he's that bullish midfielder who can really, wins the contested footy. That's how he scores. So I don't see him scoring too well as a rebounding defender. So I think it's an easier pass on Libba. Don't take the risk on him unless you're very risk averse. But I'd rather go Richards for the same price, more solidified midfield role. And obviously developing in that role. So he's probably an easier void for now. The last one we'll probably speak about in this midfield, he was forward eligible last year. Is Matt Kennedy. Any interest at all for Matt Kennedy? He's at 515K, sort of played that half forward midfield role most of last year. Probably was that 40 to 50% CPA mid. Are you looking at Matt Kennedy at all?
Nah, not for me. I think just with the emergence of Joel Frazier, if he's getting that midfield time, someone's got to give. And if it's not Libba, it's probably Matt Kennedy, who has played half forward in his time at AFL level. So yeah, I think he could be the one. And for that price, mid only, it's a no for me.
I think he showed some good consistency last year. Dropped one score, which was a 23 in a full game. But outside of that, he was just giving you 80s, 90s, 100s. Pretty, just consistent. Always in that 40 to 50% CPAs. Like you said, if Frazier's going in, someone's got to come out. And yeah, it's probably Kennedy who can play that half forward role. Keep an eye on him if he gets that forward eligibility is all I wanted to raise him for throughout the year. So just keep one eye on Kennedy there because then we'll be picking him as a forward. But let's move into the ruck line. Tim English. Das, I want you to start on this one because I really like this pick. 600K with the new ruck rules. Does it help or hinder him?
I think it helps him. I think it definitely helps him, but I don't know, mate. I've been burnt by Tim English before. He plays as that extra midfielder. That's his biggest strength, and they've got so many good midfielders around him. Like he drifts forwards, kicks goal, which is huge for his SuperCoach scoring. But yeah, I don't know. At 600K, I'm not. There's already so many question marks around the ruck position in general this year, and which rucks we're starting, and how many good rucks we're starting, and I don't want to chuck in another question mark in the fact that I don't know. I can never be that confident in Tim English in and of itself. So yeah, I think I don't like him enough to risk starting him.
Yeah, okay. I'm very hot on Tim English. I think he's going to be a top 2, top 3 ruck come season end. I see him getting back to that 2023 best. We've seen him over the last 4 years really put together some good footy. 105 average in 22, 128 average that huge year in 23, 108 in 24, and 111 in 25. The ruck rules that sort of came in, which favoured the wrestling type ruckman, was probably why there was a little bit of that drop off in 24 and 25. Now that the wrestling type ruckman are going to be hurt a lot more, I see him getting back to his 2023 best. And at 600K, he's probably going to get up to the heights of, the top end of ruck price. And with the ruck line, you usually pick the 2 premium rucks and it's set and forget. But he's the one for me I'm setting and forgetting. Played all his juniors as a midfielder, then just had this random growth spurt, which is why the Bulldogs have thrown him into the ruck. And like you said, he just plays as an extra midfielder. He's just that taller guy that's then going to run around and take intercept marks. He's good on the ground. I'm really sold on Tim English being a top 3 ruck.
Yeah, I guess we can agree to disagree. I'm not as sold on him, unfortunately. But I'm not sold on any ruck, to be honest with you. So I guess that probably helps with that as well. I'm very unsure about what to do in that department. So, but he's not near the top of my list.
Yeah, and with the rucks, you're probably talking about 6 rucks mainly as the top 6 that you don't see. Well, they're just going to be the top 6 coming at the end of the year, really. And English is the cheapest of the 6. So why not just pick him, who's going to be that top 6? His worst case is going to sit around 600K, and I'm still getting one of the top end rucks for 600K. I see the other guys sort of regressing a bit more, and English at worst sitting around that 600K range. So that's why I'm picking Tim English. I just think he's got a higher upside than downside too. That's why I'm sold on Tim English as well. But let's go into the forward line where we've got one guy we're going to talk about. This guy is a freak. I don't know where the hell he's come from, who is built by, but like obviously Luke Darcy, but Sam Darcy in the forward line, 517K. This guy is a freak of the competition. So great to watch. Dominating preseason. I don't know who he's playing on, to be honest. And it's clearly nobody, but kicking bags for fun. What can you say about Sam Darcy for us here?
Oh, Sam Darcy. I've always been against starting key forwards, but he is definitely been on our radar. He is just such a good player. His game translates to SuperCoach so well just because of his contestant marking ability. They target him every time they go inside 450, and as they should. I really like it. I do really like it. It's like old me would never have thought about starting, key forward, but at 23% of sides for a reason, at 517K, I think he'll be in the top end of forwards. I think we both had him in our top 5 or top 6 in our predictions earlier in the year. So, I love it. I can't knock the pick.
Yeah, it's just a great pick. You do have to fight that round 3 bye, which is the only reason why I'm probably not starting him. I see him being a top 8 forward as well. He's going to chop out in the ruck when Tim English is resting. Maybe they throw Sam Darcy into the ruck further. Do they see Sam Darcy being their long-term ruckman if English goes to the West? I don't know. But, I still love it. It's just he's going to score wherever he is.
Couldn't agree more.
So can't knock that pick. In terms of the year, Das, where do you see the Bulldogs finishing? They're always maybe highly rated and then they disappoint a little bit and just scrape finals or just miss out. Where do you see them finishing this year?
Yeah, I honestly think the same. I don't see them pushing top 4. I think they'll be that, 5, 6, to 8 range. I think that's where the doggies live, and I don't see anything that they've changed that would catapult them into premiership contention. So I still think they'll be a hard team to beat, and they'll take it up to the best sides most weeks. But they lose games they should win. It's been a sort of trend for them, and I don't see that ending. So I think they'll make finals, but I don't think they'll make too much of a wave.
Yeah, I'm the exact same as you. I see them pushing top 4, but like you said, they'll just drop the odd game randomly here and there. So yeah, they'll probably finish around that 5 to 8 range as well. But I think the only change that we've seen is probably Sam Darcy developing even more. So it probably just means that they're going to get better because Sam Darcy is getting better. He's just too hard to defend. And if they get a full season out of him, we know he missed a lot of footy last year. Yeah, I see them really pushing with Sam Darcy in there. In terms of the early fixture, they do have a tougher fixture. They have Brisbane in opening round, which is, I guess, nice in the sense that it's not going to count for a Supercoach year because that might hurt the scoring of the Bulldogs because Brisbane are a good Supercoach side. So I think that's a nice one, and we get to see who really shines in that game. Obviously, I'm expecting Bont to shine in that game, but the players like Sam Darcy, see what he does against the topper sides. Obviously, probably the best side in the comp in Brisbane. So then they've got GWS, Adelaide, Essendon, Hawthorn, Geelong, Sydney. So some tough games. The teams that are there or thereabouts, apart from Essendon. Yeah, so obviously the round 3 bye as well. Tougher run before their bye. Maybe after the bye, you need to target the Bulldogs guys. But if you're really sold on starting Bont, Richards, or Darcy, I can't knock it.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I think there's stars littered on every line for the doggies, and a lot of them will be making their way into our sides come season's end. But that sums up this team preview, Tice, and all of our team previews. So if you've missed any and want to know about any player in particular or how we think teams will line up come round 1, go back on our YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We've got it everywhere. Listen along, like, subscribe, follow us. All your support has been incredible. But until next time, Tice, we've got some pretty good content coming your way. So make sure to stay tuned. We'll be reviewing all the preseason matches. We'll be showing you our teams and looking into all of the different Supercoach picks that you could be starting your team with this year. So I'm looking forward to that, Tice. But that sums up our team previews, and I'll see you in the next one.
Sounds good. Thanks, Das.
Thanks, Tice.